there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Today I'm going to show you how to make a lovely little boutonniere style pin for Veterans Day or Remembrance Day. This is of course a poppy, and it's made with twisted paper cord, available at Paper Mart, our sponsor today. You can find them online at www.papermart.com, and they have the other supplies we need too. But it's very fast, very economical, and a lot of fun too. Maybe something you can do with your scouts. Let's go to the table and see how it's done. Okay, we're here at the table. This is my finished little poppy here, and I made this using white twisted paper cord. I did use a little purple in the center and colored it black just because I had it on hand. I had a scrap of it, but you can do this all with white. I will recommend though, if you're going to do this project with children for Veterans Day, to buy the green, the red, the black, just because it's going to make it a lot easier. You won't have to have them colored the paper, and it'll just be a lot easier for them because these steps might be a lot for a kid to handle. All right, so the first thing you want to do, using a pair of scissors that aren't your favorites, I get these at the dollar store, they're just heavy-duty shears, cut off about an 8-inch piece of the twisted paper cord, and then we're going to need a piece that's about, I would say, about 4 inches. Then we're going to need a piece that's about 3/4 of an inch, and we're going to need a piece that's about an inch long. So this will make all the elements for our flower, and you want to untwist each of these completely and flatten them out. You can see it untwists pretty easily. Kind of feels like a corn husk. Alright, these are the pieces that are going to be needed to make a flower. So now we need to color them, and I'm using gelatos, but you could use watercolor paints or poster paint or whatever you have is going to be just fine. So for the flower, I'm going to need yellow, orange, and red, and I'm going to do yellow in the center. I always work lightest to darkest, and make sure you're working on a non-stick craft mat or a piece of wax paper to protect your work surface, and it will also give a place for these to dry. I'm kind of doing an ombre effect, and you'll get 2 flowers out of this piece because it's so wide. I also tried making them doing a spiral type of flower, but I found that having the petals in a long strip works better. You'll see what I mean in a minute. And then, let's see, you're going to color this with a couple different shades of green. These gelatos are really fun to work with. I'm using actually gel sticks and gelatos. And we'll spritz them with water in a minute to turn them into paint. It's really fun. Kids would really enjoy this too. But like I said, if you're doing this with your kids, you know, just a couple kids, you could definitely do this method. If you're going to do it with a classroom full of kids, though, you're going to want to buy the pre-colored twisted paper cord, and the red is perfect. Just not the cranberry, not those weird color reds, but just plain red is like a perfect poppy color. And this is going to be black, because that's going to be kind of the that black center. Alright, so everything I'm showing you here, you're going to have to do to the other side as well, but just to save time in the video, I'm just going to show you right here on the one side, because you don't need to see me do it twice. Take a spray bottle of water, spray down all your pieces, and then simply finger paint. You could use a brush if you didn't want to get your fingers dirty, but I love the feeling of these gelatos because they're so creamy and they blend so well. And finger painting is fun, and your kids will love it. And it will also teach them an appreciation of the people that have served our country. You can use a different finger for each color so you don't get them all cross-contaminated. So the benefit of using just white to make all of these is that you get to that lovely variation of color, making it look a lot more realistic. They'll still be pretty if you use all different pre-dyed colors, but this is fun. Plus you get to get a little messy, and that's fun too. So then you're going to flip these over, and you're going to do the exact same thing on the back side. I'm going to wash my hands and bring out the pieces I've already colored and dried. We have all of our pieces that have been dried. So for the petals, we're only going to need half of the piece that we colored. So just cut that down the middle and save the other half for some other time. And we're going to cut petals. Basically, it's like you're cutting a big scallop strip can vary the size of the petals if you want to. Completely up to you. You want to end up with about 5 petals. For the leaves, that's real easy. We're going to fold our paper into thirds, and we're going to have to cut the leaves out like you would if you were making paper dolls. Remember when you were a kid and you would cut paper dolls out so they would be holding hands or connected together at the feet? That's kind of what we're doing here. We're cutting them all together. Just like that. And if your leaves end up together, connected on the sides, that's easy. We'll just snip them apart when we go to cut them. When we see, we'll just snip that apart if we get any pieces attached like that. So we've got our leaves right there. And for the black part, we're actually going to use, you can either use your regular scissors, but I have these fringers and it will make it a little quicker. So you're going to fringe that part. You can see how easy this cuts once it's opened up and flat. And this part we just leave as is. I've got my glue gun handy, so we're ready to roll. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is take the light green piece and roll it up. This twisted paper cord comes in 25-yard hanks for $2.69, or if you're feeling particularly ambitious, you can get 200-yard rolls for about $10. So it's great classroom supply because it's quite affordable. Put the glue on there on the end. I think I need to add another glue stick in there. All right, I'm going to attach the black piece to this green piece. And we're going to keep on rolling. Just be careful not to burn yourself. Roll it right up. Another little dab of glue. And we're going to start with our red and orangey colored piece. If you're doing this with a classroom, like I mentioned before, I would get the get a hank of that red twisted paper cord. It's a beautiful, the regular red color is a beautiful poppy red. As I am doing this, I am going to kind of pinch the bottom and kind of spread out the petals as I go. I want to make sure it's going to look like a poppy. I don't want the petals to be in there too tightly. And I want to be able to see some of that yellow as well, since we did take the time to hand color it. It's nice if it shows. So just kind of fiddle with that a bit and spread out the black doodads in the center. And I'm going to secure that with a little bit of glue as well, that last petal. Oops, I got a lot there. I have to be careful not to burn myself on that one. Don't want that. Don't burn your hands off. And if you end up, sometimes when I'm making these, I'll have the green part will stick out a bit, and I just chop that off with my heavy-duty shears. Okay, now we need to attach the wire. And I'm using just some floral wire. And I want it to be, I'm going to want this to be about 3 inches long. So what I'm going to do to first attach this to the flower is I'm going to make a couple just wraps around the hip. And then I'm going to put a dab of hot glue so I can kind of trap that wire in as I go. And I kept it attached to the spool. But I suppose if you were doing this with a big group of people, you could cut off, I would say probably about 2 feet of wire per flower. I like to work from the spool because I don't have any waste. So I'm just going to wrap that around a few times to secure it and to cover up my glue. Alright, after I've got that part done, I want to cut off about a foot, I would say, using my shears. Don't use your scissors on this because you will trash them. And I'm going to bend this at about the length that I want it. So I've got it bent at about 2.5 to 3 inches. And then I'm going to twist this loose end around itself, kind of, until I catch right back up with my flower. And don't worry if you bend it out of shape. You can fluff up the petals, you can bend the wire back, not a big deal. It's going to get sturdier and sturdier as we go. And then I'm going to take my leaves here and I'm going to start wrapping them around the stem. Generally the poppy leaves would be lower, but for aesthetics I'm going to have them a little bit higher. Move them around, get them in place. I know it looks a little crazy right now, but we're gonna pretty it up, trust me. Just takes a little bit of fussing with it. And I'm trying to work kind of quickly so that the video is not too long for you. Just like to put a little bit of glue, just hold things together. Now I'm going to spread out the black part in the center and fluff my leaves up, my petals rather. And then the next thing I have to do is just put on the ribbon. And my tip for tying bows is to tie them upside down. So this is right side up for you, but I'm tying it upside down. And that just, for some reason, seems to make my bows look a little bit more realistic. And they make the tails hang down a little bit better. A lot of times I'll work right off the spool. So when I trim it, I only have to trim off one end. But I find that if I take about 10 inches of ribbon, I get a very perfect bow with very little waste. Well, as perfect as I'm going to get it anyway. I'm sure some of you can do some really awesome bows, but this is probably as good as mine are going to turn out. And then, because that doesn't want to stay, you can see how it's going to slip off. I'm going to put some glue on the bottom of my flower, and I'm going to slide the bow right up on there. I can also look and see which side of the bow I think is prettier and put that side in the front. There we go. So that's how you make a lovely Remembrance Day boutonniere for a very special veteran. And aren't they all special? They've served our country. They certainly deserve a little thank you from us. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I want to thank Paper Mart for sponsoring this video. You can find the supplies I used at www.papermart.com, where we make you look even better. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.